Hey everybody, welcome back to Obscurities and Miniatures with your host, High Lord Tamerlane, doing something a little bit different than usual, but something near and dear to my heart, which is SD Gundams. Now, I am a big model building fan, just as often as I'm building tabletop stuff. Any excuse I can to build Gundam models, I will absolutely take advantage of. And truth be told, no exaggeration, I have built quite literally hundreds and hundreds of SD Gundams at this point. I used to have an old model catalog from the mid 90s that had, like, you know, the checklists of all the SD Gundams released. And I mean, literally just about every single one of them. I know the first 200 or so I absolutely have owned. Anyway, this is something new. I have every single one of the SD Sangoku models that was released in the original line, and I was caught completely unaware. I know my brother Barzam had mentioned that these new Sangoku, what is it? Soketsuden. I can't even read. Sangoku Soketsuden, right here, yes. Anyway, I know it's totally off the video. But this is Chohi God Gundam, which is the Zhang Fei God Gundam. Interestingly enough, there is just a teeny tiny little bit of Japanese, but for the most part, everything is in English. According to my brother, he said that these are actually made for purchase and consumption outside of Japan, which is quite interesting. So, having built the original series of Sangoku models, everything was based off of the older, you know, Gundam model kits. These are based off of a lot of the new stuff, which is kind of cool. So here we have the two of the frames, a typical gold frame, our stickers, the white pieces, because after all, it is a Gundam. This is based on the God Gundam, like I said. Now, this looks like most of the joints on the A-frame, which is interesting, because usually the A-frame is where we have all of the actual fancy multicolored parts. Quite a bit of clear stuff. That's one thing I've noticed with these new models, is there are a lot of clear parts. And, you know, it's the God Gundam. It's supposed to have its big, fancy energy wing binder thingy. And what I got here? I don't know what that is. Hair, maybe? Chohi Godo. I don't know, we'll figure it out. Blue pieces. Looks like the limbs. Now, these are based more on the original style Sangoku models rather than the cross silhouette models, which, you know, have the inner frame. And then we have the actual spear and feet. So, not too many frames. We have our typical instructions. Again, there is Japanese and English, but no Chinese, which is a little bit surprising. But, you know, it's not like I can read Chinese anyway. So, they have, naturally, some sort of a gimmick. This time, you can combine their weapons into some sort of super weapon. I'm a bit sad that we don't have any kind of actual comic. We just have a little blurb about the whole Three Kingdoms and a little bit of the backstory here. The yellow zombie virus. So I guess it was not the yellow turbans, it was the yellow zombies. So from what I understand, this is supposed to be like a post-apocalyptic take on the Three Kingdoms Sangoku story. So here we have our parts list. I'm curious if I was to want to order parts, who I would talk to. Because we do have the part for the customers in Japan only. If you're not familiar, most of these models, especially the typical Gundam models, at least the Japanese ones, they usually have a parts missing or damaged claim form you can fill in and then, you know, contact them. I actually have had to contact them before while I was in Japan, and part service was quite fast and efficient. So not too many sprues. This follows the traditional, simple Gundam building pattern. You know, you build the head, the arms, and the body. I'm surprised everything's not numbered, though. So we have everything just kind of going across, and it all kind of goes back to the center core body. One thing I am noticing, there are 0 polycaps. That is an interesting change of pace. So like this A3 here, this usually would be a polycap on a SD Gundam, but nope, that is actually a hard plastic piece. And I don't know if that was because it's not made by Bandai Japan. It's actually made by Bandai Spirits, which I believe is in either Hong Kong or Taiwan. So it's a little bit thicker, more durable plastic. I hope that that's not going to be an issue. It's not like I'm going to be manhandling these constantly, but, you know, something to keep in mind. I'm going to grab those clippers and we are going to put him together, and I'm going to be bad and actually use the stickers and not bother to paint him right now. I know. With all the painting I do on this channel, why am I not painting Gundam models? Laziness. It's all laziness. All right, I'm going to shut up and let's put this sucker together. All right, we got our Zhang Fei God Gundam. I had to think about that for a sec. The flames on it were throwing me for a loop there, but we've got our Zhang Fei God Gundam all finished up here. Not that it was a very difficult build. This was just, you know, honestly, I spent a good part of the afternoon putting him together, taking my time and enjoying it. I did use most of the stickers. You have the stickers here on the V-fin for the flames, and then for the jeweled area right here on the shoulder pads on the front. And there's nothing going on the back, sadly. You know, if you wanted to paint that in, I probably will, and I'm going to grab some kind of a marker and go through that. I was disappointed there's nothing really on the backs, and that's something I've noticed that seems to be pretty prevalent through the line so far. Now, obviously, he's got his serpent fang spear, if I can get it out of his hands. There we go. We'll talk about the hands later. So, obviously, it's got that curved, twisted blade, and it does have a prong here to attach to his back, in case you're somebody like me and you own millions and millions of SD Gundams and have more weapons than you'll know what to do with. I was a bit bummed out that these God fingers here, after all this is the God Gundam, are kind of stuck in place and there's no real movement. They really block a lot from happening. There's also no elbow joint, but there is a knee joint, which is surprising, and it's really kind of masked and blocked off by all of the skirt armor. And the skirt armor actually is pretty bulky and really inhibits things. I mean, it is an SD Gundam, so I'll just block that off there. So you can see you do have a little bit of knee movement, but you might want to be wary about that due to the fact that, as I said earlier, there are no polycaps. It's all plastic on plastic, and eventually plastic on plastic starts to grind away plastic, and you have things get real loosey-goosey later on. And you also have that happen. I'm debating whether I want to cannibalize some of my older kits and bits that I have laying around and actually put some polycaps in there. I do like all the translucent parts on him. That seems to be a really cool feature. But again, for the God Gundam, the lack of a backpack, or the jet scrambler binder, whatever they were called, is kind of a big disappointment. Another plus, though, is I really like they've got his whiskers there on the front and his top knot on the back. Overall, I can't complain too much. The price was that impulse level purchase that a lot of the SD Gundams used to grab me in at. I paid, I only think $7 for it with tax in the US. So that's a good price. I mean, most SD Gundams these days are running about 1,000 yen anyways. I'm curious if I'm going to come across any while I'm in Japan. Here's a couple of hobby shops and stores that stock Gundam kits pretty regularly and have pretty extensive collections of models that hopefully we'll see if they actually have any or not. It's a nice addition to the Sangoku line, and I am hoping that in the near future I can acquire some of the others. They have a bunch of the ashtrays coming out that I am really interested in. So overall, cool little kit, something different, something new. And if you're interested, if you want to go give your Tau some kind of new suits. Funny thing, Tau players, because they always want to go cannibalize Gundam parts for weapons, but what they really should be doing is looking at all the SD stuff with their plethora of extra guns and gear, because that's what I've always wanted to use. Anyway, so this is High Lord Tamberlane saying, check these out. And if you ever come across any in the US or you know a good US distributor of these, please, by all means, leave a note in the comments so I can go hunt some down. That said, this is Obscurities and Miniatures saying thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Bye-bye.